Welcome to So You Want to Be a Rockstar. I'm Tammy Oakland.
And I'm Scott Wilson.
Hey! It's always fun getting emails and responses and your questions. We got somebody that reached out wanted to know a little bit about how you schedule practice and rehearsal and what's the most effective way to do so. And I thought that was a great question.
It's a great question because we talked and touched on where did we rehearse, talked about band agreements, we've talked about all this stuff of putting your band together. Now we got to rehearse. And as an individual, we got to rehearse. What's your practice? What do you think?
There is a difference between practice and rehearsal.
Oh,
so.
I didn't know.
When you're at home,
okay,
that's your practice because that's when you're learning the songs and, trying to understand what you're playing.
Yeah.
Rehearsal is where you get together and actually play the song.
Okay, and you work on the show as a band.
Exactly.
Like so. the thing.
Yeah. But for me, I'm pretty loose when it comes to my practice time. Like, I like to, for me, it's like I got to know the song.
Yeah.
So if I'm doing a cover song, I'll learn the song, I'll listen to it, I get the vibe for it, I know what key it's in, I know the chord structure, so that way I get the bones of the song, if you will. And then once I got that down, I'm like, okay, I can feel where the song is going. That's when I'll start working on the little nuances and the little jive in between. Yeah.
The
so
sprinkles on top.
It comes together. For me, it's all about feeling and a vibe and, working it all together.
And I'm the nerd.
Yeah.
So what I do is I chart out every song first. Doesn't matter if it's simple and 3 chords, whatever. I chart it just because it helps me memorize the song structure. Mm-hmm. And then sometimes it helps me learn the riff, charting it out. And then once I write it, my brain kind of holds on to a little piece of that to where when I come back to it, even without the chart, I remember, oh, this is the song that had that weird riff.
Very smart.
So I do it that way. And then after I get all of that written down, sometimes I'll put it on an iPad with an app, the chart, if I think I'm going to use that to perform.
Wow.
Yeah, it happens. I mean, and then especially if I'm going to a studio session.
That is true, having the tools.
Because I'll have the iPad and it'll be my chart and stuff, and it looks like weird math problems on there. But I'll do that, and then I will sit and run those songs until I'm blue in the face and can't stand any of them.
Yeah.
And hopefully it all turns into muscle memory and I perform well.
And that's the big thing. Muscle memory is the key. So it's a lot of times too, if I'm doing a solo and I'm trying to break it down, there's also apps like Ultimate Guitar.
Oh, yeah.
And stuff like that will break down the solo note for note. And what I'll do is I'll take that chunk if it's a difficult one, and I want to learn, like, how are they doing that?
Yeah.
You can actually slow it down, and that's what I'll do. I'll take a chunk that I'm having difficulty with. Yeah. I'll slow it way down. Mm-hmm. I'll learn it, get the muscle memory, and then, like, I've always heard the rule of 5. Yeah. So I'll go through that pattern like 5 times at that speed. If I can nail it down 5 times at that speed, then I'll bump it up and bump it up and bump it up. And then once it's at speed, I'll even go a little bit faster because, as we all know, once you start like hitting the stage, adrenaline pumps and you're playing faster. But if you play it faster too, then you can. It's muscle memory. Yeah. It's muscle memory. And you get it down, and you move on.
And you don't even have to think about it because it just does it on its own. Mm-hmm. Your body plays and does the thing on its own. And that's an important thing because once you know your song that well, you can concentrate on putting your show together with the band, of what's going to look good, how it's going to feel, all that good stuff. Because, hey, you can play the song, but if you can't play the song together, you're in trouble.
Yeah, and that's where rehearsal comes in. So know your parts at home, and then show up prepared when it comes to rehearsal time. So for us, we're a cover band. Okay. So just to give you an idea of how our rehearsals look, we kind of, everybody in the band has kind of like, I want to say roles, responsibilities. Yeah. So we have somebody that kind of wrangles and takes charge of our rehearsal time and our practices. And so we've broken down our songs into like, this is rehearsal A, this is rehearsal B, and there's a certain set of songs, and then we have a Google calendar. This is where I get nerdy. This is where we get nerdy on this one. This is where we do it. So we'll get like a Google calendar, and then so we're all on it, and it's like rehearsal this night. We're gonna go through set list A, and all the notes that we need to have for the rehearsal. So everybody's prepared and know what we're working on. So we get in, we have a warm up song, so that we get everybody's levels, everything set, the fingers going. Yeah. And then we'll run through like set list A. And then if we're adding new songs into the mix, we have some time set aside at the end to start working those in and start woodshedding and making sure we all come together. And then.
So do you have a legend like on a map, treasure map?
Oh, it's all colored out. Totally. Yeah, exactly. It was like terrain, little X's and completely. I can draw it for you. Just like we did.
Like you did on the stage map.
And then if we have a show coming up, that's when we switch gears and we'll run the set list.
Yeah.
And it's not just songs. And this is the important part about that is you want every nuance rehearsed.
Yeah.
From the intro to the banter to the transitions of going from one song to another to, hey, are we going to meet in the middle for this solo? Are we, just so everybody's kind of choreographed, and then that way it's there, muscle memory again, so you get out on stage and you're having a ball.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't know this, but the big bands that you see and you go to the big arenas, almost all of that, I won't say almost all that, but a lot of that is choreographed.
Yeah.
It is put out there to where somebody says, hey, go to this X, because the lighting guys have their cues. A lot of times that's automated. And you got to know where you're going to go.
Yeah.
So as a band that doesn't get to play every single day like a touring band does, you guys got to choreograph that out and know not to run into each other, knock each other off stage.
Exactly. And then when you've got all that rehearsed, because Murphy's Law, something's going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
It always happens.
Yeah.
But if you've got that rehearsed and you got that muscle memory down and you've done it enough times to where you know it, if something crazy happens, you're not panicking. You're not stopping. You're not going, like last night, we were rehearsing, my guitar strap popped off.
Okay.
And it was like, I'm playing, and all of a sudden my guitar was like, woo! You heard me in the background go, ah! But we kept rolling. It's like, you figure it out. It's like, how can I quickly, you need to rehearse the mistakes too, because it's going to happen on stage.
I'm going to hit up Ernie Ball and talk to them and tell you about a new thing called strap locks.
I would still find a way to mess that up. Believe me.
But yeah, so.
I'm a scatterbrain when it comes to everything. It's so funny.
It isn't, it's not that hard. We want to have fun. We want to play out. We want to do stuff. There's no better feeling and being able to relax and enjoy yourself while you play, because you know your stuff. You practice till you're crazy blue in the face, and then you show up and you just rock it out.
And because you're going to be stressed, especially if it's a new venue, new place, first show, you're going to step on stage. Yeah. You're going to be stressed out. But if you know you've practiced it enough, it takes a little bit of the stress off, and it brings back the fun of what you're up there for.
That's what it's all about. Yeah. Having the fun, being able to show off a little bit for your friends and family, and let them see what you can do, because they don't get to see you do this every day. So it's really cool when people come watch your show for the first time. And
here's another little tip that I was just talking about actually last night.
Yeah.
Is like when you are doing shows and stuff and you get video. Mm-hmm. So you can go back and watch and see,
like the football
and kind of learn things. Yeah, like a football team.
Yeah.
Because one thing that I have noticed from all the times that I've been on stage, and there's been photographers.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And I go back and I look at those pictures, and every one of them, I've got the guitar face.
Yeah.
So now I'm like very aware of that. I'm hyper aware of like, okay, we got to keep the tongue in the mouth. But that's another thing too. It's like if you see a photographer, you can rehearse a little pose to get a great shot that doesn't have me going.
Yeah. The old tongue sticking out.
It's horrible. We all have the guitar face, but I do it quite often apparently.
There's always a phone. There's always a video. Yeah. There's always a camera, and you got to be aware of that. And that's the things that you got to practice. When you're done practicing and learning the music, you got to learn how to look cool.
How to look good. How to look cool. How to rock and roll. Have fun.
Yeah, and it's not easy to look cool when you look like this. So, just saying.
But thank you for the question. That was a great topic to cover. Hopefully we got everything you needed off of that. And as always, if there is a question that you want answered, a topic you want covered, rockstarmicdrop@gmail.com or Facebook, YouTube, leave us a message.
That's the place. Do it. And we'll get to you when we can. Thank you.